My mom shoved my young daughter's chair back and said, "This is for real family." He hit the floor. The room went silent. I helped her up, brushed off her dress, and said 5 words. My mom's face drained of color. My dad started stammering. "Tao, wait. My name is Judy, and I'm about to tell you the story of the day my mother shoved my 6-year-old daughter to the floor at a family dinner, and how those 5 words I said next changed everything forever." It was Thanksgiving 2023. My daughter Chloe and I had driven 3 hours to my parents' house in suburban Ohio. Chloe was so excited. She'd made a construction paper turkey in school, specifically for Grandma and Grandpa. She had no idea what was coming. Neither did I. Honestly, though, maybe I should have. Here's what you need to understand. I'd married someone my parents didn't approve of. His name was Marcus, and he wasn't white. My parents, especially my mother, made it clear from day one that they thought I was making a mistake. When Marcus died in a car accident 2 years ago, leaving me with Chloe, my mother actually said to me at the funeral, "Well, at least now you can start over properly." Can you imagine at my husband's funeral? But I kept trying. I kept bringing Chloe around because I thought maybe if they just spent time with her, they'd see past their prejudice. She was their granddaughter, after all. Half of me, half of Marcus. Beautiful, smart, funny. How could they not love her? The dinner started awkwardly, as usual. My father, Gerald, gave Chloe a stiff pat on the head. My mother, Patricia, barely acknowledged her. My younger brother, Todd, was there with his wife, Amber, and their 2 kids, Kyle, who's 8, and Madison, who's 5. You could immediately see the difference in how my parents treated Todd's children versus mine. Kyle got a $20 bill just for showing up. Madison got swept into my mother's arms like she was made of gold. Chloe noticed. She looked up at me with those big brown eyes, confused. "Mommy, why doesn't Grandma hug me like that?" I swallowed hard. "She's just busy, sweetie. Why don't you go show Grandpa your turkey drawing?" What do you think I should have done differently? Should I have just stopped coming? Anyway, dinner was being set up. The dining room table was beautifully decorated. My mother always goes all out for holidays. There were place cards at each seat. I noticed immediately that Chloe's card was at a small folding table in the corner, away from the main table. Kyle and Madison had seats right next to my parents at the big table. "Mom," I said carefully, "why is Chloe sitting over there?" My mother didn't even look up from adjusting the centerpiece. "The children's table, Judy. It's where kids sit." But Kyle and Madison are sitting at the main table. They're family. Those 2 words hit me like ice water, but I kept my composure. I picked up Chloe's place card and moved it to the main table, putting it in an empty seat next to mine. My mother's jaw tightened, but she didn't say anything yet. We all sat down. My father said grace, a long, rambling prayer, thanking God for true family bonds and preserving our heritage. I saw Todd shift uncomfortably. At least he had the decency to look awkward. Then came the food. Plates were passed around. My mother served Kyle and Madison first, piling their plates high with turkey and all the fixings. Then she served Todd and Amber. Then my father, then herself. She completely skipped over Chloe. "Excuse me," I said, my voice tight. "Chloe would like some turkey." My mother's smile was cold. "She can serve herself when everyone else is done. She's old enough." Chloe was 6. I was about to stand up and serve Chloe myself when it happened. Chloe, trying to be helpful and not cause trouble. God, she's such a sweet kid. Reached for the bowl of mashed potatoes herself. It was a little far, and she had to lean forward in her chair. And that's when my mother stood up, walked over, and shoved Chloe's chair backward with both hands. The chair flew back. Chloe hit the hardwood floor with a sickening thud. The room went completely silent. My mother stood there, hands on her hips, and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "This is for real family." Everything seemed to move in slow motion. Chloe started crying, not just hurt, but confused and humiliated. Kyle and Madison stared with wide eyes. Amber gasped. Todd looked like he wanted to disappear. My father just sat there, fork halfway to his mouth, frozen. I got up, walked over to my daughter, helped her up off the floor, brushed off her pretty blue dress, the one she'd been so excited to wear because she wanted to look fancy for Grandma. My hands were shaking, but my voice was steady. I looked directly at my mother and said 5 words. "You'll regret this, I promise." The color drained from my mother's face. She'd expected me to cry or yell or make a scene she could use against me later. She didn't expect calm certainty. My father suddenly found his voice stammering. "Now wait, Judy. Let's not be hasty. Your mother didn't mean—" I cut him off. "Didn't mean to physically assault a 6-year-old child. Didn't mean to call my daughter your granddaughter, not real family. So here's what you don't know yet. My parents aren't just casually comfortable. They're wealthy. My father made his money in commercial real estate, and when he retired 5 years ago, I took over managing most of his properties. I have power of attorney for their finances. I handle their investments, their rental properties, their entire portfolio. They trusted me because I have an MBA from Northwestern and 15 years of financial management experience. They handed me the keys to their kingdom because I was the responsible one, the one with the business degree, the one who could be trusted. Want to guess what I decided to do with that access? Todd caught my eye across the table. He gave me the smallest nod. My brother and I aren't super close, but in that moment, I knew he understood. Amber was already standing up, gathering their kids. "We're leaving too," Todd announced. "This is insane, Mom." But my mother wasn't looking at Todd. She was staring at me, and I could see the wheels turning in her head. She was realizing something. Something about my expression, my tone, the way I'd said, "I promise." "Judy," she said slowly, "what are you going to do?" I picked up Chloe, who wrapped her arms around my neck, still sniffling. I grabbed our coats. "You'll find out," I said. "Very soon." As I walked out carrying my daughter, I heard my father say, "Patricia, what have you done?" "Good question, Dad. Let me tell you exactly what she'd done and what I was about to do in return." The drive home was the longest 3 hours of my life. Chloe fell asleep in the back seat, tear tracks still visible on her cheeks. Every time I glanced in the rearview mirror and saw her, my resolve hardened. I wasn't just angry. I was done. Monday morning, I walked into my office at 6:00 a.m. Here's what you need to understand. I manage a financial consulting firm, but I also personally handle my parents' portfolio. About $4.2 million in various assets plus 18 rental properties generating roughly $32,000 a month. My father had signed everything over to me when he retired, trusting me completely. Do you think what I was about to do was justified? I started making calls first to every single one of their tenants. I'd managed these properties for 5 years. I knew these people. I gave each of them the same offer, 2 months of free rent if they agreed to sign new leases, with a property management company I'd researched. My parents would get proper 60-day notice, all completely legal. Then I called their financial advisor, Gregory. "Gregory, I'm resigning as power of attorney for the Mitchells. Effective immediately." "Judy, what happened?" "Let's just say our family relationship has reached its natural conclusion." By Wednesday, 12 of the 18 tenants had agreed. Thursday morning, my mother called. I let it go to voicemail. Friday, my father called. I deleted that too. But here's where it gets unexpected. Saturday afternoon, there was a knock on my door. I looked through the peephole and my stomach dropped. It was my mother's sister, my Aunt Diane. I hadn't seen Diane in probably 15 years. She'd had a falling out with my mother decades ago. Something about Diane marrying a man my mother disapproved of. Sound familiar? My mother had cut Diane off completely. I opened the door cautiously. Aunt Diane was in her late 60s, silver hair cut short, wearing jeans and a leather jacket. "Hi, Judy. Todd called me, told me what happened on Thanksgiving. Can I come in?" Chloe was at a friend's house. Thank God. Diane sat down and got straight to the point. "I need to tell you something about your mother, something you deserve to know." My heart started pounding. "Your mother wasn't always like this. When she was in college, she dated a black man named Jerome. She was head over heels for him." I felt like the floor had dropped out from under me. "What?" "Your grandparents threatened to disown her. Jerome wanted to marry her, wanted to stand up to them together, but Patricia chose the money. She left him and married your father within a year. Someone from the right family, the right background." Diane's eyes were sad. "She spent 40 years trying to convince herself she made the right choice. Every time she sees you with Chloe, she sees the life she was too afraid to choose. Can you imagine finding this out?" "I'm not excusing her," Diane continued. "What she did to that little girl was unforgivable. But I thought you should know she's not punishing you. She's punishing herself." After Diane left, I sat alone processing everything. My phone buzzed. My father. "Judy, please. We've lost 9 rental properties this week. The income is gone. What do you want from us?" Then my phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello? Is this Judy?" "This is Margaret Holloway. I'm your grandmother, Patricia's mother." I nearly dropped the phone. I'd met her maybe twice in my entire life. "I heard about Thanksgiving from Diane, and I heard what you're doing. I need to see you, Judy. Can I fly to see you?" "Yes. I'll be there Tuesday. And Judy, bring Chloe. I want to meet my great-granddaughter." She hung up. I sat there stunned. Then my father texted again. "We need our income back. Your mother's medical bills." "Medical bills? What medical bills?" Sunday morning, Todd showed up at my door with Amber and the kids. "We need to talk," he said, "about Mom and Dad, because there's something they haven't told you." I let them in my stomach, twisting. Todd looked uncomfortable. "Mom has early-stage Alzheimer's. She was diagnosed 6 months ago. Dad made me promise not to tell you. The world tilted. What? But that's not why I'm here. He pulled out his phone and showed me a spreadsheet. They're broke. That's impossible. Dad made terrible investments last year. Lost almost everything. The rental income was the only thing keeping them afloat. They were too proud to tell anyone, especially you, because you'd warned Dad against those investments. I felt sick. So when I cut off the rental income, you didn't just hurt their pride, you might have actually ruined them. Do you think I should have known before I acted? Todd squeezed my shoulder. But here's the thing, they still deserved it. What Mom did to Chloe was evil diagnosis or not. I just thought you should know what you're dealing with. My mother had Alzheimer's, my parents were broke, and my grandmother was flying in with mysterious family secrets. My phone buzzed again, my mother calling for the 15th time. This time I answered, "Hello, Patricia." "Judy." Her voice was small, defeated. "Please, I need to talk to you in person. I'll come to you. Just please, we're losing everything." I thought about Chloe, about the bruise on her hip, about her asking, "Mommy, why doesn't Grandma love me?" Fine, I said. "Come to my house tomorrow, Monday, 2 p.m., come alone." "Thank you," she whispered. I hung up and looked at Todd. "What are you going to do?" he asked. "I have no idea," I admitted, because my mother was coming tomorrow. My grandmother was coming Tuesday, and I still didn't know what I was going to say when I faced them. But one thing was certain. The Judy who walked out of that Thanksgiving dinner was gone. The woman I was becoming didn't let family get away with cruelty just because they were family, even if they were sick, even if they were broke. Some lines once crossed change everything forever. Monday at 2 p.m., my doorbell rang. I opened it to find my mother standing there, and I barely recognized her. No makeup, hair pulled back messily. She looked 10 years older than she had at Thanksgiving. "Thank you for seeing me," she said quietly. I didn't invite her to sit. We stood in my entryway like strangers. "Judy, She stopped, her hands shaking. "I don't even know where to start." "How about with why you shoved my 6-year-old daughter to the floor?" She flinched. "Good." "There's no excuse," she said. "None. I was cruel and hateful, and Her voice broke. "I've become everything I swore I'd never be." I crossed my arms. "Todd told me about the Alzheimer's. Is that your excuse?" "No, I was diagnosed 6 months ago, but I've been terrible to you and Chloe long before that." She looked at me with red-rimmed eyes. "Diane called me. She told me she talked to you about Jerome." My jaw tightened. "I loved him," my mother whispered. "I loved him so much, and I was a coward. I chose money and my parents' approval over love. And when you chose love when you married Marcus, despite what we said," she wiped her eyes, "I hated you for having the courage I never had. Do you think that makes it okay? Does understanding why someone hurt you mean you have to forgive them?" That doesn't change what you did to Chloe," I said coldly. "I know, and I know what you're doing with the properties. Judy, your father and I were going to lose the house. We have maybe 3 months before." "Good." She looked up at me, shocked. "You deserve to lose everything," I continued. "Just like you tried to make me feel like I'd lost everything when Marcus died. Just like you made my daughter feel worthless." My mother's face crumpled. "You're right. We do deserve it. I came here to tell you that I understand and to ask not for forgiveness. I don't deserve that. But to ask if someday maybe you'd let me try to know Chloe. Really know her. Why should I? Because she deserves a grandmother who loves her. And I do love her, Judy. I've been too sick and twisted to show it. But I do." I was about to respond when Chloe came running down the stairs. She must have heard voices. She stopped when she saw my mother instinctively moving behind me. My mother dropped to her knees right there in the entryway. "Chloe," she said, her voice breaking. "I am so sorry for what I did to you. There's no excuse. I was wrong and mean, and you didn't deserve any of it." Chloe peeked out from behind me, confused. "I don't expect you to forgive me," my mother continued. "But I want you to know that you are real family. You're my granddaughter, and I love you." Chloe looked up at me. "Mommy." What was I supposed to do? Let my daughter see me be cruel? Teach her that we don't forgive. "Go back upstairs, sweetie," I said gently. "I'll be up in a minute." After Chloe left, I looked at my mother still on her knees. "Get up," I said. She stood shakily. "Here's what's going to happen," I told her. "You and Dad are going to sell the house. Downsize. You're going to live within your means for the first time in your lives. I'll help you find something affordable, but only because of the Alzheimer's. Not because you deserve my help." She nodded, tears streaming down her face. "And if you can prove to me over the next year that you've actually changed, that you can treat Chloe with love and respect, then maybe we can talk about rebuilding a relationship. Maybe." "Thank you," she breathed. Don't thank me yet, because here's the deal. I'm in control now. Not you, not Dad, me. You want to be in Chloe's life? You follow my rules. You slip up even once and we're done forever. Do you understand? Yes. Now leave. She left without another word. The next day, my grandmother Margaret arrived. She was elegant, sharp-eyed, and when she met Chloe, she cried actual tears of joy. You look just like your daddy, she told Chloe, showing her pictures of Jerome, my mother's first love from 40 years ago. Imagine that. My grandmother had kept pictures all these years. I told Patricia she was making a mistake, Margaret told me later, while Chloe played in the other room. But I was weak, too. I let my husband bully her into leaving Jerome. I've regretted it every day since. She held my hand. Don't let them off easy, Judy. They need to earn their way back. But when they do, and I think Patricia might actually be open to it, for Chloe's sake, if nothing else. Over the next 6 months, things changed slowly. My parents sold their house and moved into a small condo. My father got a part-time job as a consultant, humbling for a man who'd retired as a millionaire. My mother started therapy and medication for the Alzheimer's. And they started writing letters to Chloe. Not gifts, not money, just letters telling her stories, asking about her life. I read every single one before giving them to Chloe. At first they were awkward, but gradually they got better, more genuine. My mother wrote about Jerome, about her regrets, about how much she wished she'd been braver. Did they deserve the second chance? I still don't know. But here's what happened. 8 months after Thanksgiving, I agreed to let them visit for Chloe's 7th birthday, just for an hour. My mother brought a handmade photo album, pictures of Marcus that she'd collected from me over the years but never acknowledged. Pictures of him and me. Our wedding, Chloe as a baby in her daddy's arms. I want you to know your father, my mother told Chloe. He was a good man. I was too blind to see it. Chloe hugged her grandmother for the first time. I won't lie, I cried. But I also stayed in control. They left when I said it was time. They followed my rules. They understood that I held all the power now. And you know what? It felt good. Not the revenge part. That had stopped feeling good months ago. But the control, the boundary setting, teaching my parents that love comes with respect. That felt right. My father pulled me aside before they left that day. Thank you, he said quietly, for not giving up on us completely. We don't deserve it. You're right. You don't, I said. But Chloe deserves grandparents who love her. So you'd better keep earning it. He nodded, humbled. Now a year later, my parents see Chloe twice a month, always supervised, always on my terms. They've become grateful for every moment, every smile, every hug. My mother's Alzheimer's is progressing, but slowly. She started donating to organizations that fight racial injustice, trying to make amends for a lifetime of prejudice. My father works hard at his consulting job and volunteers at a community center in a predominantly Black neighborhood, trying to understand the world he rejected for so long. Are they perfect? No. Do they still mess up sometimes? Yes. But they're trying, really trying. And I've learned something important. Forgiveness doesn't mean letting people walk all over you. It means setting boundaries so strong that they have to change to be in your life. I didn't just take revenge on my parents. I rebuilt our entire family dynamic with me at the center making the rules, and honestly, I think that's exactly what needed to happen. Chloe is thriving. She knows her daddy's memory is honored. She knows she's loved. She knows she's real family, not because my mother finally acknowledged it, but because I've surrounded her with people who see her worth. Aunt Diane visits often. Grandmother Margaret calls every week. Todd and Amber's kids have become Chloe's best friends. We built a new family, one based on respect, not obligation. And my parents, they're learning their place in it. At the bottom, working their way up, exactly where they should be. So did I do the right thing? Should I have cut them off completely, or was giving them a chance to change the better path? I'd love to hear what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed this story, please hit the like button. And if there's something you didn't like or would have handled differently, share your opinion in the comments. I really want to know. Thank you for watching and for letting me share my story with you.